cutting out gluten, all my stomach cramps are gone. All my bloating is gone, my skin's much clearer. I was really tired and fatigued when I was eating wheat, and that's all gone. I've got so much more energy.
I started to notice the differences quite quickly. I noticed my hair started growing, my skin had improved. I had that energy.
I'm much happier, much more vibrant, much more alert.
The study that we conducted here at the Rowett was to investigate the effects of a gluten-free diet. We had 95 participants who consumed a gluten-free diet for 3 weeks. One of the ways that we can assess changes in nutritional intake is by asking volunteers to keep a food diary, and then we can link those changes in diet with changes in physiology by collecting blood samples and fecal samples. In particular, we're interested in changes in the gut microbiota.
Since cutting it out, it's been absolutely fantastic, and I've noticed such a great difference in how I feel.
When I used to eat gluten products, I used to have cramps when I ran, whereas now when I'm not ingesting gluten, I don't get those cramps.
So one of the interesting results that we found was that subjects actually consumed more fibre, mainly in the form of vegetables, and we think that's because the subjects were cooking from scratch more.
I was one of those sort of people that would go out to dinner every single night. I probably wasn't getting the right nutrients out of my food before. I definitely cook a lot more with fresh vegetables, meat. I experiment a bit more in the kitchen. You can't eat takeaway, so I'm definitely eating a lot healthier. I'm definitely getting what you're meant to get out of food.
When going gluten-free, you've got to cut out certain food types. So inevitably, you get far more creative in the kitchen, you're cooking more at home, you're cooking with fresher ingredients, which means that overall your diet just becomes far healthier and more nutritious. So in doing so, I think a consequence of that is, reduced fats, reduced salts, but obviously far more fibre.
It's interesting that the subjects self-reported increased energy and decreased fatigue during the gluten-free diet.
I find that being gluten-free, my energy levels are pretty much static throughout the day.
As a scientist, we always have lots more questions and answers to look for. So in future, we're going to be looking at investigating the physiological mechanisms associated with gluten sensitivity in a healthy population.
Having now been gluten-free, I can see the difference totally, so it's completely worked for me.